click the streaming button. So
Beautiful. So we're live?
not yet. Hold on. It takes a couple of seconds for yeah. It says that we're live. It says that we're live. Now the so to say the actual confirmation we get from people joining in the chat and in the conversation, and usually you see this. There is a little elapsed time. I don't know if my dog is scratching the door that she wants to come inside.
I want the dog so badly.
I heard you're talking to Lucia Frascerra when I see it too. And
you should let him in.
she's too cheeky, and she's changing her teeth. So you know she tries to bite everything that she can bite.
What's her name?
Pepper.
Pepper.
Because she's like too peppery.
Oh, she's so cute.
She's super cute, and you know it's crazy. Sometimes I find myself talking to complete strangers about my dog. Like,
yeah, I think it's like a baby.
Yeah, it is. It is like having a baby. I don't know why. It's I don't know.
Yeah, it's part of the family.
Yeah. Do you have a dog?
Yeah. Unfortunately not. That's one of my big regrets in life. I always wanted a dog.
It is a lot of work, like more than I expected. Like, but it's okay because you know it requires a couple of adjustments. These are adjustments that I myself wanted to kind of have. So you know I'm happy so far, and and it's cool. You know it's.
How long have you been having her?
Since the beginning of January, more or less. So it's already a few months. And she went from these sides, like a little ball, to now being a proper dog. Like she's big. You can really tell that she's my dog because she eats everything. Okay, the cool thing is that there is already like 15 people
15?
Watching. Yeah.
Oh wow, okay. Hello guys.
And we're talking about my dog.
Well, it's always a very good topic of conversation, I guess.
Okay, so we got Alex, Matteo. Hi guys, how are you? Good evening, good Italian people. Okay, we are good Italian people. Guys, say hi. Come and say hi. Chat with me. Let me know that you're watching. I wanna hear. I wanna see where you guys are coming from. It will be nice to see. And also forgive me for drinking directly from the bottle.
No one will judge you, don't worry.
I try to be as efficient as I can. Okay, so we got Nicolas Dagna from the last time.
Oh, hello, Nico. I saw the interview. It was amazing.
It was a very good. Very good. Silvia Sola.
Hi, yeah.
Blush.
Silvia is currently working at D-Box.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, she's one of my best friends there.
Okay. Alexander, hi. Okay, so we have a nice bunch of people. We are already 3 minutes in. I would say we could start with our beautiful chat. What do you say?
Amazing. I'm up for it.
Are you... Okay, we should warm up a little bit. I am very pleased to have tonight, and thank you very much for taking the time on a Sunday night. This is crazy.
Thank you very much. Well, the weather is horrible anyway. So
I cannot say the same about Tel Aviv, you know, but it's Lucia, how are you?
Very good, thank you. I am very good.
Now,
I'm not a big fan of cameras, but yeah. And it's quite odd to talk to you in English. But
yeah, no. But, you know, when we met at the D2, we also had to speak in English because all people around us were like...
Yeah, that's true.
Now, I'm kind of
used to it now.
I'm going to say your name in the Italian way, which is Lucia Frascerra. How do people call you in English?
Well, it's hard. I'm still not sure that my boyfriend can spell my surname. Sorry, Alex.
Do they manage to call you at least Lucia, or do they go like Lucia?
Well, Lucia, a lot of people call me Lucia, yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know why. It's like, you know, I tell you once, I tell you twice, just stick to it. You know
I don't know. it's hopeless.
Lucia is still better than, like in my case, instead of Fabio, I get called Pablo.
What?
I'm Italian. Hi guys, nice to see you. So we got 20 people watching. Let's start with this interview. Lucia, first of all, you know that I told you like 1,000 times, I'm one of your biggest fans.
You're too good.
I really love your work. I've been following you for years now. It was always like we had this idea in the very beginning when you first got, so to say, famous. It's probably not the right word,
it's not famous. It's like, let's keep it like kind of be less.
When you were like, did you win the CG Architect Awards? What happened there?
I was nominated.
You were nominated
for in the CG Architect 3D Awards 2015.
But I remember that your work went like everywhere, and you basically, I saw your work posted on so many forums, and I was so happy to see that an Italian person was actually, under so much media coverage, so to say. And then after that, you went straight to work for D-Box, right?
Yeah.
I want you to tell me your story a little bit, starting from, where did you study and how did you get into 3D and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so I studied art in high school, and then that led me to study architecture, like probably a lot of people in this industry, they study architecture. And I really loved it, but I literally I didn't know anything about like 3D and anything when I started. So the first year of university was basically just hand drawing, very old school kind of things. But then from the second year, the teachers, professors, they started to expect us to deliver some 3D images and whatever, but they wouldn't teach us because they obviously didn't know how to do that. Yeah. So it was, and I noticed that people who would deliver kind of decent at the time, decent now it's probably like absolutely horrible stuff, but at the time when there were people who were delivering quite nice stuff, and they would get better marks in exams. So I said, all right, I need to look into it. I want to get better marks in exams. So I started to get into like I remember that the first software that I used was ArchiCAD, I think. Then I went into Cinema 4D for a while, but I always render with like the built-in render engine, so I didn't know what like V-Ray or whatever else was. So yeah, and then I started to get quite passionate about it. But it was at the time just to get better marks in exam, just to be honest. And but I didn't know that it would be a job. I just saw that as a tool just to get what I wanted. And then I started to get very passionate about it around probably my third year of university, just before my bachelor degree. I still didn't know that it was a job until one day a friend of mine, Tommaso, came to my desk and showed me a website of some guys in Norway. You might know them, Mir. Maybe you guys know them as well. And I was absolutely, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. It was probably 2010 something, 2011. And it was mind blowing. That day literally changed. I can say that it was one of the days that changed my life, because I said, oh my God, how is it possible that people could do this? I couldn't believe that they were fake. I thought this is the best thing ever, and they are doing it as a job. It's how beautiful it could be to do this as a job. So they get paid to do that,
It's really funny that, like a lot of people kind of start in the same way, and the same reaction to seeing renderings, it's pretty much the same. Like, I can't believe this isn't real.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was mind blown. It was so incredible. It was so far from what I'd seen so far, and then that was absolutely amazing. I didn't know any other studios at the time. Well, I knew Mir just because my friend told me that they were real and alive, but I didn't know any other studios. Until then, I didn't know it was a kind of proper job. And then when I saw Mir, I was like, okay, people are actually doing it as a job. Basically at that point I realized, okay, I want to do that. I really want to do that. It must be amazing. It must be like a dream job to do this for a living. So I said, okay, from now on I'm gonna focus all my energies to try to get to that point, or at least to try to get close, And I thought, okay, they must have started at some point. So I'm pretty sure that they started maybe.
Let me go on YouTube. Tutorial how to make Archviz images.
Yeah, exactly. But as I was saying before, nobody would teach us how to do things. So I started to do a lot of self teaching. I fell in love with the blog of Alex Ogrefe. That was the very first step. Like, I say, okay, I don't have a very powerful machine, right? I had a very, very crappy laptop, incredibly crappy laptop. I couldn't run powerful softwares on that. I couldn't render. I remember that at some point I started to use Atlantis, so to do quite basic renders, like clay renders. I would texture after in Photoshop, but then all the Photoshop I learned from Alex Ogrefe. That was really, really good. I spent a lot of nights. I used to say, okay, Alex is my husband, because because I spent so many nights with him with the blog. Thank you if you're watching, because that helped me quite a lot to get into what I wanted to do. And I started to get very, very passionate about post-production, just because of very practical reasons, because I didn't have powerful machines. So if you don't have a very powerful machine, I'm saying very, very shitty machine, you kind of need to do a bit more post-production. So trying to stay a bit less in the rendering phase and do a bit more post-production. And I got really, really passionate about it. But then I realized, okay, you're not going anywhere just using Atlantis. You kind of need to know that you want, you need to use, to know how to use also some other software. I always thought that the software is just a tool, to be honest. It's kind of a mantra for me even now. I think one of the biggest problem in Archviz now is that people think that the software is everything. I think the software is absolutely just a tool. It doesn't really matter how do you get to a result. You just need to know where you're gonna go and what your image will look like at some point. So when you know,
Alex Ogrefe shows that better than anybody, because it's been using SketchUp and Photoshop.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's how I started. That's my philosophy. And till now, I hate 3D. I mean, I work in 3D, but I don't like 3D. I do it and I use the software, but it's kind of painful sometimes. I just can't. I just want to go to in Photoshop and just do what I love most, and that is the post-production. That's in my workflow. I mean, it's probably the reason.
I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions about your specific workflow, because I'm very much interested in the way you approach images. But I want to ask you a couple of things before we get there. The first one, where did you actually learn how to use 3ds Max and V-Ray?
Yeah, so
did you do it by yourself or?
No. I did a master. So, and my second my last year of university. So I decided that I wanted to do that. So I needed to learn, and I thought that learning 3ds Max on my own, even if probably it's some people do that, but I thought, okay, I don't have the time to do that. I had to finish my university, so I said, okay, I'm just gonna do a master. And one big challenge was kind of convincing my parents, especially my dad, that to sponsor the master, you know, to do something that they didn't really understand. I mean, try to explain your parents what is Archviz artist. It's not easy. I'm not even sure. Well, probably
especially for an Italian parent. I mean, you know,
And
the word artist.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was doing architecture. I was going to get a master's degree in architecture, and then my dad was like, okay, but so you're gonna waste your degree, you know, you want, so you studied all these years for nothing, which I don't agree with that at all, because obviously this is absolutely completely related to architecture, but that is just something that I loved much more. And then I don't know how I managed, but I managed to convince them to sponsor this master, which, I mean, it was private, so you had to pay for it, and which wasn't a crazy amount of money, but obviously for a student you couldn't afford it. So I studied, I did this master at the same time as my last year of university in Florence. So I would do the master in the weekends, and the rest of the days going to university, working on my thesis, etc. And so I got the degree at the same time that I finished the master. And so I learned V-Ray, I learned 3ds Max, but also I learned a lot other software, because it was 1 year master. So now that I look back, I thought maybe I needed just a few of them, but at the time I said, okay, the more the better. So I'm just gonna learn as much as I can. So yeah, that was very, very good for me, because I managed to literally open the doors of Archviz. So I was very happy about that. And then I started to work on my portfolio, and I started to do a bit of. I wanted to do to have my own company, or at least, I mean, working on my own after that.
I'm gonna overlap some pictures of your work so that people can have an idea of you know what you've been doing. I mean, your renders are just stunning. You know, I remember there is a picture that now I'm showing. Actually, they're one beside the other, that I remember looking at in the very beginning of me starting to following you. Even this picture here, oh my god, I was like, this is incredible. How is she doing
Which one
this?
is that?
There is a picture which is, Snow in the City, it's called.
Yeah.
And then there are two which are, I think they were called something like the Iceberg or Arctic.
Yeah.
And then the Holiday one, which kind of looks like lovely. Oh my god, such stunning work.
Thank you.
and no, I really mean it. I told you since the very beginning we started to talk, I admire you for that. It's incredible. And also, we could get into the specific of the type of work that you do. I don't want to bother people with that, because I want to hear your story. But it's just, it's something that for the people that are listening to this interview, really do go and look at our portfolio, because a lot of people come to me for feedback on their work. And I'm like, instead of asking me for feedback, just study the work of people that are extremely competent at doing what they do. And I think that you are one of those people that people should go and look at and study, because your work is simply stunning. Anyway, I'm sorry that I interrupted you. I just wanted people to be on the same page.
Don't make me cry, Fabio.
And hold on, before we continue, I wanna tell people watching from home. I see there are a lot of people watching and a lot of people tune in to say hi. Hi, Federico, Herald, Luigi, Francesco, Siakan. If you guys ever have any questions, feel free to just drop them on the chat, and I will try to keep an eye on the Alessia just tuned in. Just keep an eye on I'll keep an eye on the chat. If you guys have any questions, just ask me, and I will ask Lucia on the during the interview. Anyway, sorry, Lucia. I just wanted to make this little break so that people know what to do. Please continue. I want to know, when you started to learn this stuff, then you spent a little bit of time making an outstanding portfolio. How did D-Box happen? Because for the people that are listening from home, okay, I'm gonna say it for you. You worked first at D-Box, and now you're at Cityscapes, which are, both of them some of the biggest players in the Archviz industry, and we're gonna touch up a little bit on that later. But how did D-Box happen?
There was absolutely complete luck, when all this everything can just, I don't know, resume to luck. Basically, I did my portfolio, and I was teaching at the same time post-production in the school I studied. So I was doing some post-production courses in the same academy where I studied the master, and to do this teaching, I had to produce some images. So I would produce a lot of images that I would use also for my portfolio. And then I started to post these images online. So one of the first ones that I started was that is Knowing the City, the one that got the nomination in the CG Architect Reader Award. And the other one is Arctic. So was absolutely unexpected. I literally signed up to CG Architect just before posting that things. I'd never posted anything before, so I didn't even know that it was that big and it was that kind of a big deal, So I didn't know that. So I just posted stuff. I didn't know what to expect. But then Arctic, with my big surprise, became Pro of the Week in CG Architect. And if you're Pro of the Week, you got to go on the newsletter. So the newsletter went obviously to probably every person in the industry, because everybody has a CG Architect account, and it went to D-Box. So somebody at D-Box saw the image, and then I received a text in LinkedIn from a guy called Christian Klassen. And hello, Chris, if you're watching.
Hi, Chris.
The guy was saying, we saw your image on CG Architect, and we think it's very good, and we saw also other of your works, and we were thinking just to say hi and say if you might be interested in joining us in London. And I genuinely believe there was a joke. I'm not joking. I thought there was a joke, and I know a couple of people who would be up for a joke.
Let me check.
Like
1st of April.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I didn't reply for about 4 days. So I was so sure it was like, nah, that's not true. Then after 4 days, maybe it's true. Let's just reply to this guy. And I replied, and it was actually real. And they say, if you want, we can have like a chat, we can have like an interview via Skype. The fact is, my English was horrible. And that was literally the scariest thing ever, because my English was not great. People would say, oh no, that was all right. That was not great. That was not all right. I mean, I could barely have like a 10 minutes conversation. I was not great for doing like a 1 hour interview on Skype with my horrible internet connection in Italy. It was very not great day. I was freaking out so badly. So anyway, I had this interview via Skype, and I remember that I couldn't understand the British accent. It was so. They asked me about one image, and I started to talk about another image, and that was absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, I don't know how, but
you were still too good, and they said,
Anyway,
right.
So I had 1 hour interview with them, and was the longest period of time that I have ever spoken English, so I had a terrible headache afterwards.
It was the longest hour of my life.
Absolutely. It was pretty hard. Anyway, so apparently it went well. So after a day, I don't remember, they offered me to go for a 3 weeks trial period in London, and just to see, obviously, if I was up for the move, because at the time I was in Italy, so I never even thought about moving. So moving
actually,
there,
it's a good thing that you're asking, because there is Federico is watching. Federico Biancullo from Control Z blog. He's doing a lot of great things for the so to say Italian panorama of Archviz. So I think it would be also interesting to hear, if you did not get this offer from D-Box, would you have stayed in Italy then? Would you have done something in Italy?
It was always in the back of my mind that I should go abroad, because that, unfortunately, I mean, at least at the time, I'm not sure about now, but well, at the time, not many years ago, 3 years ago, this was, the industry was not offering much. My option was to have my own company, but still, Italian clients don't really want to pay you, and so you end up doing working for one euro per hour, and it's kind of how it is. So I hope now it's better, but at the time it was not great, the situation. So I actually started to work as a freelance, working for a few clients, but that was not really working. The taxes were a lot, and so I thought that I had to go abroad, but I was never.
So in a way, D-Box was a curse and a blessing at the same time, because
was a blessing. Was absolutely a blessing. Yeah. I mean, I think the best decision of my life was to accept the offer.
No, but the curse, not because it was bad, it's just because you have to leave Italy, and you're like, oh my God, I have to.
It was absolutely incredibly challenging, and I was so scared these days. I mean, I never really thought really to go. I thought that you need to go to be able to work properly, but I never thought that I would actually go.
No, I know, because very often when I find myself talking with other people, if I now were to recommend somebody to go somewhere, I mean, I've done it when I was 19 years old, like before leaving to be a soldier, because I'm from the soldier kind of class. But after that I went abroad, I remembered that all I had was basically less than 2,000 euros, which back then were a little bit more than 1,000 pounds. And 1,000 pounds in London, it's not that much money, It was like the money to survive 3 weeks. Yeah. So in 3 weeks, I had to find a job, and if I think about it,
that's much more scary.
Yeah, it's
I was very lucky because I had a job already, and that was scary for me because obviously I had to go to a place where, I mean, I've been to London before, but just for a holiday. No, I never lived anywhere else than in my little hometown in Tuscany. My English was kind of not great, so that was a lot of things that really scared me. I was living with my mom. There was I
always lived with my mom.
I mean, leaving it is the best thing I've ever done. But it was very challenging at the time. I was very lucky that I found very good friends in London, very, very good friends who are probably watching now. So hello guys.
So you started this job at D-Box, and the whole thing lasted for how long? How long did you work for them?
2 years and a half.
2 years and a half. And this must have been a great experience. I mean,
that was amazing. That was my dream job. I couldn't, at the beginning, I couldn't believe they would pay me to do that. That was amazing. The amount of stuff that I learned, it's insane. The quality, details, the workflow, also the people I met. Some of my best friends are still working there. It's there was an incredible experience. I mean, as a first job working for D-Box, obviously I didn't know not at all what to expect. I didn't know if I was as good as they thought that I was. And that was scary, but it was amazing. Well, it was scary at the beginning, and then when I realized that I got into it, and I enjoyed so much being there, and that was really a great experience. I really loved it.
It's to me, probably the thing that strikes me the most of that company is the quality that they produce and the rate at which they produce it. It's sometimes when I'm in front of my computer and I'm trying to work on something small, I'm doing some personal project or whatever, exploration, and I see the amount of time that I spend doing that, I'm like, how do people that do that kind of stuff manage to actually do it in that amount of time? You know what I mean? It's I know. Crazy. Yeah. It's really crazy. How many projects were you doing, like, every month?
Well, not many actually. To be honest, compared to other studios, I think we had quite a long time to produce images. So we would have more tighter projects, but deadlines, but also was quite relaxed, to be honest. We had quite a decent amount of time to do things. So I would probably work on a couple of projects a month. Sometimes more, sometimes less. Depends on the amount of stuff that we had to do for the project. So that was good. Yeah, it was also really good.
What was the thing that you enjoyed the most working at D-Box?
Well, I think you mean like the project or the...
I don't know, maybe the aspect of like specific aspect of the workflow.
Yeah, I really loved the fact that they use a lot of photography in their CG. So the fact that they actually photograph stuff to put in the CG. So you just go with the photographer to shoot, not just people, but also props and stuff that make really real the image. And I really enjoyed the process of trying to match the photography with the CG. That was probably my favorite part. Yeah, and then I couldn't. I think I took some of that in my personal works when I was doing my competitions, my personal stuff. So some of my latest images, for example, Tea Time was the first image that I did since I joined D-Box. I think was the first, and then I think you can see the difference.
Hold on.
Yeah, it's the one with the girl on the window, which is the girl is Margherita. Hello, Margherita. It's one of my good friends.
Probably she's watching.
She's my model. Yeah, I think she's watching. So she's my model. And
there are quite a few people watching this. I think this probably might be a personal record for.
Oh really?
Yeah. Okay, we have Tom that says that he also got an offer from Christian, and then he started his own company. Tom, you missed out. Maybe it would have been a good learning experience, or maybe not. Maybe you're doing better this way. But it's nice to see that. Andrea says that the market in Italy is still not as good. There is a question from Siakan that says, do you still have the same workflow? I'm guessing from before you started to work for these companies and after, because it says your images look like there is a lot of 3D photorealistic approach. Well, you've always been relatively photorealistic, but very emotional in a way, the way you produce images.
Well, it depends on what you mean with photorealistic. I mean, I don't know. I don't think my images look like photos. That's not the point. I'm not trying to make them look like photography. I like to make them look kind of real, but you kind of understand that's not photography. You know what I mean? And I don't. Well, my workflow has changed slightly, has improved, I think, since I started to work for these companies. Especially, I had a big change, obviously, when I started to work for D-Box. Well, I've been working with Cityscape for just 2 months, so I'm not, for now, I still have to get into it. But when I started to work for D-Box and they taught me their workflow, I kind of got some bits of their workflow in my personal workflow. So yeah, if you see like Tea Time, that it's an example where I tried to take care of the very, very small detail. Since I started, I understood better the importance of detail, I think. So if I'm doing now an image on my own, I will try to refine and to add an extra level of detail on it, because I think that's what D-Box did very, very well.
I was also talking to Mike, he also worked at D-Box, and he kind of mentioned basically the same thing. Also, he said he was working a lot with Matthew. I don't know if you worked with Matthew yourself, Bannister?
No.
And, one of the things that he liked the most about working for D-Box was the eye that they had for, for doing images. Because very often, you're presented with a task, with a brief by the client, and you just assume that it's going to be, an image because you have this picture in your head. But then when you produce it, it doesn't match your expectations. And then having somebody that can actually guide you into making it the way it's supposed to be, this is, I think, the real advantage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And working in a team like this, I believe that these inputs, they come from all over the place.
Yeah, absolutely. When I joined, I thought, oh my God, this is crazy. I've got so many talented people around me, and I can ask for advice to anybody here, and they would give me very, very good advice. So yeah, that was a very, very good thing about D-Box.
Margherita sends little hearts. She's watching. Juan Pablo just joined us from Colombia, so we have a bunch of people watching from all over the world. This is fantastic. Nice. I want to ask you another thing. Now you work at Cityscape. This is another company that I really love, and I love the work that they do. I love the kind of service that they offer to their clients. Now, I'm curious to know, what do you think are the things that are common in when working for offices like this? I wrote in the interview, like, working for the big players. So what do you think are the things that are in common?
Well, I think the first thing that comes to my mind is that they just don't deliver one product. So they deliver a full package of products that for the client. So they just don't do maybe just images or just VR or just something else. They just present to the client as a whole package. So that, for example, in D-Box was both static VR. I'm not sure if now they are developing also like real-time VR. I'm not sure about that, but when I was there, we were working quite a lot with static VR, and then obviously CGI, and then we had like a team for the identity of the buildings, so all the graphics department were doing all the marketing for the building. So these are not just rendering studios. These are creative agencies, and also Cityscape. They deliver also a whole package. So they do like real-time VR. I love it, and planning and marketing images. So I think that's one thing that they definitely have in common. Yeah.
It's funny that you say the identity of a building. I like the fact that the whole industry is kind of moving in that direction, trying to understand that, what they have to produce, it's not only a product on demand, but rather a more holistic solution to a possible design issue. And I say this because, the downside of learning very easily software is that you get this offer from a lot of artists that say, that they can produce a work. But actually, in order to produce quality work, you very often cannot work anymore as a single person unless you are highly specialized in making a very specific thing. But, specialization takes a long time to be achieved, So, these are very cool points that you're bringing up, and I'm pretty sure that people also from home can relate to this. Also, I see that there are more people joining in. If you just joined in, feel free to ask any questions at any point, and I'll try to keep an eye on the chat. It's crazy. There is I'm not gonna tell you. You'll see it later. How many people are watching?
Okay, you can tell me if you want. I'm not gonna freak out.
Usually I get like between 10 and 20 people. At the moment, there are 51 watching.
Okay.
I think that we peaked once with Johannes, if I don't mistake.
Yeah.
We had like 60. I'm not sure, but anyway, it's I'm very happy.
Okay, let's try to beat Johannes.
Yeah, let's try to beat Johannes. Okay, guys, I need your help. Share this video and tell people to come and join us so that we can beat Johannes.
Johannes.
because she deserves it more.
Am I the first girl that you interview?
Oh my God! Oh my God! I did not think about this. Oh my God! Oh my God! I never really thought about this actually. This is going to get me into a lot of trouble.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't want to get you into trouble.
I'm gonna be considered a misogynist.
No,
but
not at all.
Actually, yes, you are. You are. I mean, I've contacted another couple of people. I never really think about it as in terms of women, and I've had a couple of conversations in the past regarding the topic because, of course, it's a very interesting aspect of visualization, and maybe I can ask you a couple of questions. The thing is that I was talking about it with Jeff in the past. And Jeff said a very clever thing, which made me think, okay, it's not my place. I was like, Jeff, I was like, Jeff, what is this situation? I would really like to ask you a couple of questions, and regarding the amount of women doing this job, and maybe we could also make a video. And Jeff said to me, "You really want to discuss this topic? 2 men?" And I was like, you know what? You're right. I mean, but I said it not because I wanted to discuss the topic. It's just because I'm curious,
Yeah, of course.
But talking to you, I did not really think about this because I'm, in a way, I have the chance to talk about your professional path that, I did not think about this. But of course,
I think it's good. I think it's good that you didn't think about it, because that means that you called me for this interview, not because I'm a girl.
No, of course not. That would be no, absolutely. I'm a fan of yours because of your work. It's not that, now I'm gonna say a couple of things that people are saying.
Don't worry. I didn't want to put you in trouble.
No, I apologize, but it's what am I supposed to do? It's
no worries.
Now I lost my train of thought.
What we're saying.
I wanted to ask you. Now okay. You're a woman.
Okay, we don't have to do that.
No, but seriously, very often, I ask myself, and I discussed this already with Miki, Michela Tonelli. She's our Italian partner.
I went to university with her.
Oh, yeah, she mentioned that, actually. And in a way, it's one of the things that she was discussing on her interview, the interview that she did with Lisa. I don't know if you watched that interview.
Not sure.
But anyway,
I definitely didn't watch that. But yeah, I'm gonna do that.
One of the topics that came up is that one of the things that people assume is that women don't go into that direction because of the technicality of life. To everybody that is assuming that this is a highly technical job, the technical parts are very small. Of course, there is a learning curve, but that I guess you're gonna have with everything. So
Yeah.
Anyway, we are done with that part. Now let's go back to our own interests.
Yeah.
And I am sorry for not acknowledging the fact. I totally forgot about it. I wanted to ask you. Now you've been working for D-Box, and then you made the decision to move on. Probably, there were some challenges that you were looking for. So, what do you think made you go to this new company, to Cityscape?
Well, it was a very, very hard decision to leave D-Box in the first place, because obviously, I owe them literally my life in London. So, can you imagine how hard that could have been just to say goodbye? But it's like when you live with your mom and you love your mom and you're very grateful to her, but then at some point you decide that it's time to move out and looking for new challenges. And I always liked Cityscape. It was always the company that was always there, that I kept looking at the stuff they were doing. And then I really like the workshop, the creative lighting workshop that Nikos is doing together with Cityscape. I never actually.
By the way, Nikos is going to be on the D2 conference channel tomorrow.
Oh wow! Okay, I'm gonna watch that. So I always liked that. So it was kind of was not really hard to decide to go and try with them. And for now, I'm really happy. I was very sad when I left the D-Box. I really. I didn't know if, obviously every time you leave a place that you are really comfortable in, where you are in your comfort zone, and you leave your comfort zone to go to do something else, and the unknown, it's quite scary, but yeah, I think it was good. I'm having a really good time in Cityscape right now.
I remember when we first finished university, a very good friend of mine, Jonathan Evans, he went to work for Cityscapes, and I remember he was posting a lot of the renderings that he was doing, and I was so jealous. Not in a bad way. I was just jealous of the fact that he could do that stuff,
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
there is a question coming. V-Ray or Corona?
Don't ask me that question. Come on.
But I'm guessing, they want to know, they're interested about the workflow rather.
Yeah.
Like, from the company perspective.
Well, I'm just saying, for the company, so like D-Box and Cityscape, or for my personal workflow? It's kind of different.
Both.
Anyway, both. So in D-Box, we would use V-Ray and Corona sometimes, and same at Cityscape. So V-Ray would be probably the first render engine, and then Corona for some projects. It depends on the project. In my personal workflow, I personally use V-Ray, but I used Corona once, but it doesn't really matter to me.
They're pretty similar anyway.
Yeah, they are. That's the point. It's more like if you ask me the question like V-Ray or Corona, I can respond like Photoshop. So, Photoshop, it's I couldn't live without it. So in my workflow, but not just in my personal workflow, also in the company I worked for, Photoshop is a very big part of it. So it's because again, the software is a tool, so it allowed Photoshop. It's what I like most, so I know how to make stuff with Photoshop, but if you know how to use V-Ray super well, just use V-Ray, just do whatever you think it's best for.
Now they're compatible anyway, so
yeah, exactly. I mean, that's I don't think it's there is so many difference anyway, so it's more like the fight Canon Nikon,
Yeah.
They're kind of very good both, but to me it doesn't really matter. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I dodged the bullet with a female question. You're gonna pay for this later.
That wasn't my intention.
No, but it's okay. I think it's a good thing that you actually brought it up, because I never thought about it myself. It
was just something I got. It came to my mind just in that moment. It's I wasn't meant to.
I always wanted to interview Michela, because Michela, she's doing great stuff, but she's a little shy.
Oh no, Michela, you should definitely do that. You're great.
But it's mainly because of the language, and I understand that. I don't want to push her,
No, of course, no, of course. But I think her English is great. I mean, she'll be fine. Yeah.
I'll try to persuade her.
Yeah, you should do that.
Hold on, I had a question that I wanted to ask you, but now I'm missing it. It doesn't matter. Anyway, I wanted to ask you now. Of course, you just started to work for Cityscape, so I'm guessing you are planning to stay with them for a while.
Yeah.
But say from here to 10 years, where do you see yourself?
Oh my god. Next question. I would have a dog, definitely. I would definitely have a dog, possibly two. They might be like Alaskan Malamute or Golden Retrievers, to TBC. And but anyway, I would like to be in London. I love London. I always love London, and my life here is great. So I really like my life in London here right now. So yeah, I would like to be in the UK in 10 years time, and I would like to have my own company.
So the dream is there. You do want to have your own
point,
company.
At some point.
Maybe have a studio in London and one back in Florence.
I'm not sure.
But you're not from Florence. You're from Livorno, right?
No, I'm from Livorno.
Yeah,
I studied in Florence. I studied architecture, and I did a master, and I worked a little bit in Florence. But
I love Florence.
It's amazing.
I love Florence. Every time that I get a chance, because of something that we do together with Miki or something, I go and get a schiacciata with briciolone.
Oh my god. Don't say that. It's almost dinner time.
Okay, Michela is saying that she's going to improve her English. Latte Freddo is saying, is her studio in Italy or abroad? Does she work alone or what? I think I missed those information because I just joined like 10 minutes ago. Okay, no, Lucia, basically she works at the moment. What is your position at Cityscapes?
I'm a senior visualization artist.
Okay, so she works as senior visualization artist, and she's in London. She worked in D-Box. I think that you're very mature in a way, the way you're approaching this, because I feel that a lot of people, they get blinded by the possibility or the idea to go into freelancing and maybe to start their own business a little bit too soon. I'm not saying that it's always like this, but I'm saying that a lot of people do that without gaining the right amount of experience first.
Yeah.
And I think that you're doing it very well, that, because, I mean, for sure, if you think about it, there must have been some things that, when you went to D-Box or Cityscapes, you said, I actually never thought about this. Right?
Yes.
I mean, one of the questions that I get all the time, it's like, why these offices charge so much money for one image and then they only pay you, say, X for your job. At the same time, if you were to go freelance, you probably wouldn't think of charging the same amount that they charge.
No, of course not. Because
you think,
I mean, you learn from literally everybody. It's from people like you at the D2. I mean, you learn stuff at the D2. I learned so much at the D2.
Did you really? I'm proud of that.
Yeah, I mean, not technical stuff, but I mean, just talking to people, just very high level people that. And just being there, like having a drink with them, it's just the best thing ever. I'm gonna come back, by the way, this year.
Oh yeah, that's
and
amazing.
Probably in the next years until I'm old and I can't drag myself to Vienna anymore.
Until you'll be speaking there.
Well, that would be a great dream. That would be a very, very great dream. It's on my list of things.
I think it's not that
Together
far.
with having a dog speaking at the D2 conference. The D2 conference is a bit higher.
Okay. Well, if you come, you have to come with a dog, and then we'll let you speak.
Well, I'm fine with that.
Okay, Michela is asking, can you give some advice regarding making a portfolio in order to apply for jobs like the jobs that you landed? So what do you what can you say about this?
So first thing I would say, spend some time doing that, because a lot of people are kind of they want to have everything quite soon, in a very short time. But if you really want a very good portfolio, you need to invest time doing it. So that's very ugly truth to hear, I guess. But I think I spent doing my portfolio. Obviously, I was doing something else at the meantime, but I think I spent 6 months or something to have 10 images, no more nor less, 10 images with strong character that would communicate something about your style. So, and also not every image is like interiors or all the images exteriors. Just try to have a mix of things. If you have time, it's good that I don't know, if you're an architect, you can design the stuff that you put inside, like the buildings most of the buildings that I put in my images were kind of designed by me, but I mean was designed as just the elevation of the building. Obviously I didn't have any idea what was inside or anything, but it's just for the purpose of the image,
Who doesn't do that?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't care if they're not staying up and they will fall down at some point. I don't care, but that would add quite a lot to your portfolio, because when you go for an interview, you would say, I also designed this building and I designed all the space around this building, and that instead of like getting like a ready-made scene or whatever, that's quite important, I think. Then trying to have a mix of things, I think, is the best advice, because a lot of people maybe have their portfolio with just interiors because maybe they're good in doing interiors, but then they would say, oh yeah, but we also do exterior in this office, so we want to see also if you are able to do them. And that's it basically. So invest more time, 10 images, mix of things.
Yeah, I think it's also very important to be able to show that you are able within the same project to produce more of the same work and to have some sort of like continuity, because otherwise, maybe you focus very much on one image and you think this is going to be a great image, and then the rest of the images are like eh.
Yeah, exactly. You definitely need to have continuity.
Good. Hold on, I'm going through the chat again to see if there are any more questions related to this. You have a lot of people rooting for you. It's like 70% of them are Italian.
I know, we are like the Italian mafia.
Yeah, it's nice, it's people feel close, and I think if you have the support of people, it kind of motivates you.
Yeah, it's heartwarming. It's great. It's really great. I love Italian people.
Yeah. All done. So starting out as an artist, I'm struggling with the idea to choose a style in Archviz, and by style I mean the hyper-realistic stuff or heavy post-production approach. Okay, so I'm guessing this is a little bit of a statement, but maybe you can expand a little bit on that. So, as a starting out artist, I'm struggling with the idea to choose either a style like hyper-realistic or heavy post-production approach.
Well, definitely you need to be coherent in your choice. I mean, if in your portfolio there is an hyper-realistic image and a very, very heavy post-production image, they don't really go well with each other. So I agree with the fact that you kind of need to choose a style, but you don't have to choose one or the other. I mean, my style is kind of halfway, I guess. I'm definitely not hyper-realistic. I'm more on the post-production side of it, but I do like spending a bit more time also in the 3D sometimes to add a bit more details there. So it depends a lot on what you are good at and what you like the most. If you like more post-production, just go for it. If you like more spending time in the shaders and everything, just go for the 3D part. And obviously it's good to know kind of how to do both, because it could be useful, but just find what you like and what you're good at, and then go for it.
I think also there is a little bit the misconception that if you do post-production, you not necessarily achieve like realism, which in a way, the guys from Mir, for instance, I remember we organized. If Jason is listening, he's gonna stab me in the heart. We organized a workshop with the guys from Mir, Sanne and Karim.
Yes.
And 90% of the stuff that they were doing, which was hyper realistic, it was done in post-production.
Post-production. That's what I say. It depends on how you can use post-production. You can use post-production as a like not hyper realistic if you want to achieve that result, but you can also use matte painting and post-production to use hyperrealism.
I really like myself, and I'm kind of leaning back a little bit on that this pop revival style that Eric de Broche has with Luxigon, and I think they're bringing it back even more, and I really like it. I have to say, the latest works that they have done, they're absolutely stunning, and but you need also the client that wants that kind of work.
Of course,
you know what I mean?
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
So Christina says that she's proud of my sister. How important is the design and sketching phase in your workflow?
It is very important. I think my personal workflow, I always start with a sketch, which is a very ugly sketch, to be honest. I'm not very good at sketching, but it's very important just to fix on paper what my idea is. So what I always say is that if it works in a sketch, it will work much better in a render, in the final image. So if you put your elements in the sketch, it can be like a hand drawing sketch or in like a very quick mock-up in Photoshop or whatever, can be like that. But this is very important because it makes you focus on the important things. Then you just need to add the details, and if you start with a good base as a sketch and you stick on it, the result will be exactly like you imagined it. So I think I'm quite against going into 3D and then moving around the camera just kind of randomly to find a good angle. I know that sometimes you need to do that, but I mean, especially if I do something on my own, some competitions or without the clients, obviously it's much easier. I always start from doing some sketches.
I want to say I did a course lately with a very good artist, you know, Gennaro Esposito.
No.
He's been working in another field, VFX and all that kind of stuff. And actually, one of the things that I've learned that a lot of people that do Archviz completely omit is the having an idea on sketch first, because the idea on sketch kind of puts a structure to what you have in your head. Because, you know, when you have something in your head, ideas are fluid, they are going everywhere. You make a sketch, and you can use that sketch to create a block out, and then on the block out, you add more and more information all the time. And then when you do it like this, you really see your design going to, you know, places. Somebody's asking, do you have friends in Italy who remained in Italy that are doing as well as you are? Or is it really that bad over here? I think this person is Italian, so she's asking if she can stay in Italy or if things are really as bad as we describe them. I have something to say about this, but I want you to answer that.
It's quite a tricky question because, well, obviously, I have friends, but well, they are mainly architects, so because obviously university friends, and they stayed in Italy to become architects, not 3D artists, so it's a kind of bit different. I have a few friends who are in the industry, who are in Italy. Some of them are quite struggling. I mean, I know that the fact that to look for clients in the Italian market is quite hard. Find a person who is willing to pay you the right amount of money among the Italian client. I believe it's quite hard, because I think, unfortunately, in Italy, our job is not valued that much. I guess maybe now it's better. I mean, now we have a few very good studios like Engram or other studios in Italy, very, very good. But except for them, I don't know anybody that as a freelance works in Italy and it is doing incredibly well. So I don't know. I don't want to be super pessimistic, but it's maybe you can work in Italy and then have like clients from abroad. That would be an option. But it's quite. I believe it's very hard.
Now I'm gonna add something about this, because eventually, I'm working with. I have Italian clients myself, and we work together, and I'm really helping these people to kind of build something. The problem in Italy, one of the biggest issues in Italy, is that Italians, they're a little bit regional in their head, and I don't mean to be offensive. You need to be able to take the criticism, because if you don't take it, you cannot move out of it. Now, the problem with Italians is that Italians, if they have an idea and if they have a perception of one thing, this becomes their reality. When actually what I teach my clients to do is to let that go and try to understand that the reality is what we create for ourselves. Now, this is a very important thing to know, because if you had a couple of bad experiences and then you think, okay, this is the market and we cannot do anything with it, and then you start to adjust yourself to the bad experiences that you had, so you give up and you don't stay consistent. But I know people that are doing extremely well. Now, The problem is that, when somebody is too busy and there is nobody telling their stories, these things, they go unheard. Okay? But I guarantee you that in Italy there is a lot moving. Things are changing.
Yeah, I had this feeling though that recently we had kind of big change in this area, because people are kind of knowing way better the industry.
It is coming. It's just that, a lot of people still need to let go of what they used to know, and they need to embrace the new, I mean, funny enough, most of the criticism that I get for the stuff that I say comes from Italians, because, Italians that are like, oh, you're not here anymore and you don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, and I'm like, I know what I'm talking about because I know the industry and I talk to a lot of people that are actually doing good. Probably you guys should try to change the way you work. And, it's not like it's only Italians that have this kind of problems. It's even people in England that sometimes fall themselves in a mechanism where, they don't know how to get out of it. The only thing is that, the moment you start to generalize and say, okay, things are bad, and then at that point you're a prisoner of your own prison, so to say. I just want to put it like this. And in my eyes, stay positive, do great work, because if you do great work, people will come and get you no matter where you are. I mean, I interviewed Nicolas a couple of days ago, and, he comes from Argentina, he ended up in Norway. You were in Italy, now you're working for Cityscapes. I know so many stories of so many people that actually made it. The trick is, do fucking awesome work and don't worry about it. The thing is that, in a good situation, we wouldn't have to be so much stress to have to make the best work. And I understand that, there are people that are not as talented. I put myself in that box as well, I am not the most talented artist. It would be nice to, have a situation where, okay, you are good enough, you get a job. But even there, I think that period is over. That doesn't exist anymore. The classic posto fisso all'italiana, so the getting a job. I don't see it anymore. Now you need to have talent all the time. Anyway, would you consider the key elements in lifting the quality of a CGI to the next level? For example, lighting, minor detailing, etc. Thank you, Tom, for the question. I'll let you take this because you're much better than me.
So, sorry.
What would you consider be the key elements in lifting up the quality of a CGI, to the next level?
Okay.
For example, lighting, minor detailing, etc.
Well, it depends. I think it's a mix of things, because I guess, for example, composition for me is essential. And composition is something that you don't add at the end. It's something that you do at, like, literally the first thing that you do. So if there is no composition, you can add all the detail that you want, but the image won't work. So that's definitely one key part. And then, to the next level, having, the little details help. They said, like, God is in the details, because it is. It would give a little bit of dirt, a little bit of life, and also, I guess, the how do you say, like, putting people inside the images, they literally could make or break the image. So if you learn how to put a key person or a group of people, whatever, in the correct way, doing the right thing inside the image, that would literally that would help a lot. Not in all images, not at all. I don't personally like put loads of people in the image, not in my personal images, but also in the images I do at work. But because I think I don't want it to be super like distracting. I want a few key people, and I want them to be in the right position, doing the right thing, and very, very well
doing the right thing,
graded. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Lucia, I just realized that we are 1 hour and 15 minutes in. People are still watching, they're enjoying this. But, it's a Sunday night. I don't want to take too much of your time. Tomorrow there is a very long day, I guess, for you. I'm gonna, later I'm gonna publish this video. It's gonna be online in a couple of minutes. Maybe the only thing, go through the questions if people leave any, and try to answer them, because most are for you. People are here to listen to your story, which I think it's amazing, and I really, I want to thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you very much, Fabio.
It's a little bit, these little things, they give me the juice to and the motivation to go on. Because I always looked at you and all the other people that I've interviewed with a lot of respect, and also the beautiful thing of putting a voice and a face to the images that inspire us to make this kind of work. Anyway, I just wanted to thank you for doing this. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me, Fabio.
No, it's my pleasure, seriously. I want to thank you guys also for watching this and for commenting and participating. And please do leave a comment in the video or an open question in case you want Lucia to answer them. And that's all. I'm gonna stop the stream. So thanks a lot, guys, for watching again. Lucia, don't go anywhere. I'm gonna say goodbye in person, okay? Guys, see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.